CSA is performance data to drive accountability, compliance, safety, accountability. It's a monitoring mechanism to taking the most recent data regarding a carrier's operations and giving everybody, ourselves, our state partners, carriers, and the public, an opportunity to monitor performance in an active, dynamic way. Hours of service, well, getting right at the heart of rested and alert drivers make safe drivers. And EOBRs, it's all about ensuring compliance with the hours of service that is in place.
You heard a lot today at this hearing about detention at shipper docks by shippers who are slow to unload or load vehicles. To what extent could that be addressed by FMCSA?
Well, the first thing to do is to very publicly recognize the issue. We had conducted some research last year. We've got additional research underway today with regard to driver compensation, and that gets into the detention time as well. We've got to recognize that it's an issue. I've made it very clear that from my perspective, that when you think about the full supply chain or the logistics supply chain, safety has got to be a part of every link in that chain, not strictly left at the end point, that last mile, on the driver, on the trucker, on the carrier. So from that perspective, again, the detention time at shipping and receiving docks is all a part of that supply chain that we speak about. And we need to be taking a closer look at it. It's not within our regulatory authority necessarily, but it certainly is within the sphere of accountability when you look at CSA numbers and the selection by providers, intermediaries, whomever within the industry of carriers for services.
With these three rulemakings or three initiatives in place, the CSA, electronic onboard recorders, and hours of service, what type of safety improvement do you want to see in the industry, and how do you measure that?
Well, Bill, keep in mind electronic onboard recorders is an NPRM proposed rule. Hours of service is a proposed rule. CSA is a three-part system, right? It's beginning with the safety measurement system that we use to prioritize our work, direct correlation to crash risk, and identifying and focusing our work on those with a higher crash risk. The second part of CSA is the intervention piece, and the third part, later this year, will be the proposed rule that allows us to would propose that we rate carriers based on that performance data. So number one, those proposals on the table, it would be premature to say, you know, how are we going to be measuring performance. We owe it to the public who puts their trust in us to establish strong and effective performance measures. That's very much a part of our current budget proposal and will be going forward. So to that end, I think, you know, wait and see. Let's see what the final rules look like. And you should be expecting at that time that we're identifying the performance measures. We know the outcome we're working towards, which is the extreme or continued dramatic reduction in severe and fatal crashes.
What's the main obstacle to that reduction at this point?
Well, there's a $60 million question. Or should I say a $600 billion question? What's the answer? Yeah.
Is it lack of, say, the type of data you would need to enforce compliance?
Well, rephrase your question. What exactly do you mean? What's the biggest challenge to, what are the biggest barriers?
In trying to significantly reduce crashes and fatalities from where they are today. And we're not talking about statistics this morning about the decline in truck fatalities and motor vehicle fatalities overall.
Yeah.
Well, you know, is there any specific obstacle that you see towards bringing those fatalities down to even further? Is there
well, Bill, you're really defining what's the purpose of FMCSA. Yeah. So again, at the end of the day, 9 out of 10 crashes are driven by driver behavior, right? Whether it's passenger vehicles or commercial vehicles, it's all about the driver. Has been for many years, has to be a big focus area. Clearly, each of these components get at driver behavior. Employers' treatment of drivers, shippers' receivers' treatment of drivers. It comes down to how the driver behaves, how well the company is supporting that driver's focus on safety of the vehicle, how well the environment as a whole impacts, such as truck parking, impacts that driver's ability to get the proper rest. So it's a network of interlocking pieces that impact finally how the driver behaves. It's the passenger vehicle driver. And so we need to work very smartly to influence those components that we can that improve the operating environment for drivers and make sure that we're focusing our work on the higher risk behaviors. That may be the loopholes that prevail around the medical certification and drug and alcohol testing component. We're focusing work in that arena. It may be the doctor shopping that's enabled without a proper physician or medical provider certification process. That's another initiative that's underway. So the components come down to ensuring that we've got a proper regime in there to support professional drivers and frankly, the safety of all operators out on our highways, to the extent we can influence that. We have a direct mandate to influence that with regard to commercial vehicle operations.